I was never a sue the world lawyer. I was a let's do a deal lawyer. I'm really trying to fix things.
Anything you wanted to.
This is my community.
If that still were true.
People are saying stick a fork in it, and I refuse to believe that.
His son was 3, his house was 2.
I just grew up in real estate, and I like the structure of contracts and litigation. I like law, and I love being a part of something. Building a city, because Las Vegas is, my whole life has been a very growing city, so I liked being a part of building something. A major part of our economy was based on the construction industry and their spending, obviously the residual effects of their spending. So really, real estate in this market, in this state, especially Clark County, it has a significant effect. It touches every person in this county. So when you lose property values the way that we've lost them, in the range between 65 and 75%, our economy is not going to recover until we have addressed meaningfully what to do with our real estate market. If you look really at the numbers, you can mark that statistic. I mean, you can look the median, if you just look at median prices from 2006, which we'll call the peak, right, to today, you're looking at $346 for an average home price to $119 now. You still have a lot of people that place a psychological emphasis on their property as opposed to a business decision, to making a business decision. So there are people that are still kind of turning the corner on what they really think about living in a house that's that far underwater, or owning a property even in the commercial setting that's that far underwater, and if they can ever crawl back out of it based on what the market's doing. I think people naturally are optimistic. I think you really, on a sadder note, I mean, the people that aren't optimistic around here that have really been hit hard, we have an unbelievable amount of suicides in our community, right? So I think of those people that are left, they're naturally just optimistic. I don't think they have a strategy per se of how things are going to get fixed or when they're going to get fixed. But I think they purposely don't allow themselves to think about how bad it can be, because that's not a survival mode, that's not a survival tactic to be pessimistic. There was a short window where you could get a principal reduction and you could have a short sale and you could do those things, and it was fairly fast, right? It was not easy, but it wasn't 3 years, and it wasn't uploading things 78 times, and it wasn't getting switched over to somebody new every time you picked up the phone. And then comes in the programs, which created all this expectation that was unfounded. And then it was combustion. And then everybody's irritated, and everybody's talking about something, and everybody's pointing fingers, and nothing is getting done. And right in that circle of inflammation, you'll say, like right in that period of time, that's when 284 hit. It almost got vetoed. But there was Republicans and Democrats alike that worked in a nonpartisan effort to get it resurrected. It's always been a crime to falsify a document and use it for the purposes of taking somebody's property. The reason behind that was protecting our title, protecting our property. It really has nothing to do with protecting a deadbeat borrower or keeping somebody in their house or trying to make foreclosure more difficult in the state of Nevada. When we put it together, I sat at this desk and I researched what could really happen to a title in a botched foreclosure. And I just cobbled together what I thought would be useful for us and towards an eye of protecting our title, because if we are to suffer still further devaluation in real property because we have property that you can't certainly buy fee simple, right? Because there's questions in the title chain, that our property values will continue to plummet. And we'll never get out of this problem. As I was looking at the statutory structure we had at the time, we didn't even have a definition of what a trustee was and what capacity they're supposed to act in. And I'm looking at foreclosure, And in a three-party instrument, which is a deed of trust, you have the beneficiary and the trustee as the same party. That's a problem, right? Because it's supposed to be a checks and balances. So really it was the 284 was meant to define what we consider a proper judicial foreclosure, who a proper party to that judicial foreclosure would be, and demonstrate that by showing a proper chain of title, which was taken away from our county records because of the MERS issue. Our Clark County recording system here in Las Vegas, right? Our Clark County recorder is and has been one of the busiest county recorders in the nation. We have a big hiccup now. We have a big bruise right in the middle of it that is preventing. You can't really see what's going on in our foreclosure process because we rely so heavily, or did rely so heavily, on a non-judicial foreclosure process, and our laws didn't adequately support troubled foreclosures. Right? Our laws envisioned that you're not paying and you deserve to be foreclosed on. It didn't address you're not paying and who deserves to foreclose on you. We went from approximately 3,000 new NODs being filed a month to, I think the month after AB 284 passed, it was less than 100. MERS showed up and the bank lobbyists showed up. Any notion that the banks were not involved in AB 284 is patently false. They were, as well as the title companies, as well as representatives of the trustee industry. Free house. They come in here and my note was split from my deed and it was turned over here, and then there's another layer that's even added more confusion, which I haven't sorted through yet, which is the government paid them, so my loan's already paid off. Here's the deal. We live in the same space, right? Borrowers and lenders live in the same space. Property owners and people that have security interest in that property live in the same space. And there's no one culprit and there's no silver bullet. Now you have people that, they're ham sandwich lawsuits is what I call them. People that are filing lawsuits over something that traditionally no one in their right mind would have ever even dreamed up that you could have filed a lawsuit. And then they get people who are irritated, the rebel rousers that come in with a pitchfork, and then they're supported by an attorney who just needs to file something. And just because, what I tell my clients is just because you have a damage doesn't always mean it's actionable. Now, I'm on an edge about this because I have so many people that just give up, throw their head in the sand, and then get a judgment against them that they could have defended or defeated, right? But, so I don't want to tell everybody to run out and feel that they can be pro se. But, at the same token, everybody should have their day in court, but not over every issue. It makes common sense to modify a loan because for most people, especially in the situation where it's a primary residence, they would pay a premium over market to just avoid the hassle of having to move or relocate their kids. And in this market, when we built so many houses that look very similar, right? You could literally pick up your couch, move it 3 doors down, put it in the exact same spot, and reduce your basis by half. But people would still prefer to stay in the house where their couch presently is for a premium on fair market value, which is better for the investor, it's better for the borrower, it's better for the community. We have another legislative session that's coming up, and we're already in working groups talking about the things that would be meaningful to tweak the bill or change the bill. It's just a housekeeping rule that they weren't following themselves, so we as a state said, you have to follow it here. All of us together. You have extremists. You have extremist bankers and you have extremist lawyers, and that's what people hear because that's what sells the news. It's so hard to know where to go for sources, right? There's very few good, solid, without a platform that they're trying to jam down your throat. Then this is where a homeowner, a borrower has to come in and think of themselves too. What is everybody's incentive that you're working with? Here we still have a lot of unwinding to do because people are warming up to the notion that it's a money decision, it's not a morality issue. And they have all the remedies available to them that they contracted for in the loan documents if they want to use them. It's not like you quit playing and you leave everybody in a lurch. You expose yourself you know, you created another liability for yourself, because they certainly have the remedies to pursue you, and if they do, they do. What I've seen from my community and the people that I talk to in my law office, it is akin to a 12-step process. And I think there's a lot of people now that are really trying to strategize how and when to get out of their property, not if. If everybody is in litigation, my community won't build, period. If everybody is arguing with people around here, we can't get any stability in terms of, you know, what our real property looks like and title-wise, what it looks like in terms of value. We'll never get people to move here. We'll never get businesses to build here. It's the same as having a faulty tax structure and laws that don't work. You have to have stability for communities to grow. And if people are going to dig their heels in and get factionized and not come up with solutions because they're only wanting their solution, we will be nowhere. We will be nowhere.
Yesterday, I was walking to the street cafe.
In terms of Nevada, I'm born and raised here. This is my community. My children are born here. My whole family is here. And people are saying stick a fork in it, and I've refused to believe that. I want this state to be somewhere that my children are proud of being from as well, and that they live here and that they're a part of the community. I'm really trying to fix things. I've spent literally hundreds, if not thousands, of hours researching 284, shared equity type programs, rental programs. There's not one answer. You have to come from a million different directions and take a million different little pieces and get it done. Sometimes it will be litigation, but I'm going to say that's going to be the odd one. It's got to be voluntary participation between the borrowers and the lenders and the servicers and the agents that they work with, period.
She moves like Vegas. She's hot, but she can be so cool. Moves like Vegas. She'll make you love her, don't let her be cruel. From Paris to New York to Mandalay Bay, the palms to the wind, who knows where I'll stay? Vegas.